Alrighty, let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back or welcome to our virtual O Week. It's our second last day of the virtual O Week and today's session is going to be all about our Challenge Leader program. So I'm just going to get straight into it. This is a little overview of what we'll be covering today. To start off, I'm going to give you a brief overview of Challenges Abroad and who we are and how we work with our foundation. Then going to jump straight into what our Challenge Leader program is, what does it involve, how you can apply if you're interested, and also some of the perks and different things that you'll get out of it. And then lastly, we're going to finish up with a bit of a Q&A session with some of our really fantastic challenge leaders from the past who have kindly donated their time to be with us today. Alrighty, so Challenges Abroad, we are a social enterprise and we were established as a means of supporting our own charity who are called the FUTURESENSE Foundation. The foundation worked with our partner communities in 6 different countries around the world and established grassroots programs around 4 key areas for us, which are education, health, livelihoods, and the environment, with the ultimate aim of taking action on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And one of the main ways that we support the foundation is through our volunteers who work with them on specific projects that will benefit the community. And as a social enterprise, that also means that we support FUTURESENSE financially by donating any profits each year to help fund their long-term and ongoing community programs. But on top of generating impact, another really big focus and a really big part of what we do is supporting the development of young Australians and students by providing opportunities that allow you to step outside of your comfort zone and develop some new skills and re-examine some perspectives you might have on different things as well. So our programs really are set up to ensure that as much as you can make an impact, you will hopefully be impacted yourself as well. Throughout COVID, like everyone, we've faced some additional challenges as an organisation in supporting the foundation and also in being able to engage with students around Australia. But our key focuses throughout this time and throughout the last few months have really been on how we can continue to meet immediate needs in the community and how we can continue to support our communities without having our volunteers directly on the ground. A few ways we've been able to do this is by having our in-country teams volunteering themselves in the community. They've been helping out at things like COVID checkpoints and screening areas, providing medical supplies, and putting together these really great homework or education boxes that they've been providing to our partner schools, who then share with their students, and they're really designed to help support students who have been distance learning throughout this time. And we've also been exploring how we can continue to keep engaging young people and building their skills, which we did through an isolation webinar series that we were running a couple of months ago, and also with an upcoming project which we're really excited about, and I will mention further at the end of the session today. So let's get straight into what our Challenge Leader program actually is. So it's a program designed to help you clarify your purpose, build your passion, and put some leadership skills into practice. So on the program, you'll learn both theoretical and also practical ways that will help you really grow as a leader throughout your time on the program, and also develop some skills that are related to being a global citizen as well. So throughout the program, you will recruit and lead a team of fellow volunteers on an overseas program with us that you select. On top of this, you also get to connect with other leaders that are working with us from around Australia through some leadership meetups and training in Melbourne, and also become part of our global community of volunteers and students from Australia who really care, who are working to make an impact and are all inspiring one another to create positive change around the world. But let's look at what you actually do and kind of what are the key elements that make up the leadership program. So as I mentioned at the start, you begin by just kind of inquiring. You might have a chat to us about the leadership program if you think it's the right choice for you. And if you're keen to go ahead, you will then apply to be a leader with us, and you will also choose one of our volunteer programs that most interests you or you're most passionate about. And once you've done that, you'll then start working on recruiting a team, normally of between 10 to 20 people, who will be traveling on the trip with you. And you will be there as your team leader on that program. So you're there to help support and inspire and motivate your team in the lead up to the trip, and also whilst you're overseas with the help of our in-country team when you're on that overseas component as well. The program also involves fairly frequent check-ins with us at Challenges Abroad, so you'll stay connected with your mentor normally through weekly or fortnightly calls. And the mentors at Challenges Abroad are really there to help support you through all of the elements through the leadership program, support you in that recruitment phase, provide a bunch of different tips and ideas to help you with that. And then as you kind of go on and progress and you're getting your team together, we're there to kind of help support you with some of that kind of team management aspects and getting you ready for your program. So as I just mentioned, team management is a really big aspect of the program. So before you head overseas, you'll generally hold at least a few meetings with your team where you'll get together either in person or virtually, like a lot of us are doing now, to kind of get to know your team, maybe chat about some preparation, chat about some of the things that you'll be doing overseas. And for many, this involves organising some kind of fundraising event as well for the foundation, which can be a really great team building activity to kind of get to know everyone in your team and start to understand some of the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, and also some of the really key personalities that you have as well. And then another really big aspect of the leadership program, as I mentioned earlier, is attending our leadership training weekends in Melbourne, which obviously aren't happening right now. No one's traveling right now, and we're not running any of this in-person activities. But in a normal world, we run 2 leadership training weekends each year for all of our leaders. So you come along to Melbourne for a whole weekend and engage in a bunch of different workshops that are there to help develop you personally, and to also hopefully get you feeling ready to go overseas with your team. And I put this quote up on the screen because as much as our leadership program does include all of those elements that I just mentioned, a really key aspect that we consider of being a leader is that ability to really motivate your team, share your passion with your team, and get them feeling really excited. I think a lot of leaders can kind of take on the position of maybe just being like a liaison between their team and external people, like our in-country teams, for example. But we always see our most successful leaders are the ones who are really engaged and passionate, and yeah, like I said, are really able to share that with their team members and motivate them and make them be really successful on the program as well. So some of the perks or main things that you should expect to get out of our leadership is, the first one, of course, you will be there to make an impact overseas. So depending on what project or what country you choose, you can be making an impact in the area of education, health promotion, livelihoods, or the environment and sustainability. And you're really there to provide the skills that you have to help the FUTURESENSE Foundation who are there on the ground. Our volunteers are fantastic at really engaging with the community, working a lot with children at the school and making them feel really excited about their education and learning. Secondly, of course, a big aspect of the program includes that recruitment part, so getting your team together. And for many of our leaders, they become really fantastic friends with some people on their team. And many have also, gained those strong friendships and are continuing with those now as well. So you can form some really great connections with your team, but also with our in-country team overseas and the community members that you meet as well. Something that I'm sure we'll be chatting about a little bit further is kind of some of the key skills that you'll develop from a program like this. It is really designed to challenge you and push you outside of your comfort zone. And by stepping into that leadership position, you are provided the opportunity to develop so many skills that are really beneficial for your future. So skills like leadership, of course, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, cross-cultural communication are all things that you can expect to develop on the program. And lastly, we do offer an additional perk, which is providing a bit of a discount on your program based off the number of people that you're able to recruit. So this is really there to acknowledge that our challenge leaders are volunteering their time, along with a lot of energy and passion to the program. So we really want to acknowledge that and recognize that by providing a bit of a financial support based off the number of team members that you recruit. So you can see that up on the screen there. So if you are interested in applying for the program, or even just learning more, I will mention at the end of today's session how you can get in touch with us to just inquire and learn a little bit more. But if you are feeling really sold and you want to go for it, all you have to do is head to our website and click Leader Challenge, and from there there'll be a button where you can put in an application. It normally takes about 10 minutes to answer a few questions that we have in there. And then once you've submitted that, we'll be in touch with you to organise kind of an informal phone call to chat about some of your maybe potentially previous leadership experience, why you want to be a leader, why you're passionate about it. And then following a couple of days after that, you'll hear whether you are unsuccessful or successful, and then be able to get started on the program. And once you've gotten started, the first step is normally to meet up with your mentor from Challenges Abroad for your induction. So that's where we kind of take you further into the whole leadership program, what's expected, and providing some of those kind of tools for you to get started. Alrighty, the main portion of today's session, I really wanted to make a panel, because as much as I can talk about the program and talk about how great I think it is, I think it's a lot more valuable to hear from people who have actually done it. So we have a few of our past leaders in today's session. I know we have Mel and Lockie here, and Kaylee as well. Fantastic. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining. You will have to unmute your mics to talk.
Hello.
Perfect. Julia unfortunately couldn't join us today. She's feeling a little bit unwell, but she did send me through some notes that she's put together. So I will be able to read some of her answers out. But I would love to just start with you guys just introducing yourselves and what program you did with us. If you want to start, Kaylee.
All right, so I'm Kaylee. I did the Elephants and Hill Tribes Thailand challenge. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yep. Fantastic.
Okay, great. So I'm Kaylee. I did the Thailand Elephants and Hill Tribes challenge. So that involves, we go to the Elephant Nature Park, which is the single most incredible place in the whole world. And we spent a week there, and then we spent a week teaching sustainability in a hill tribe.
Awesome. And Mel?
Yeah, hey, I did the Nepal Community Challenge. So that's mostly involving education, but we did do sort of renovation improvement work in the school as well. So it was 3 weeks. And then my team, or most of my team, I think, except for 2 people, did the week-long extension trip, which was a trek in the Himalayas. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lockie?
Yeah, I went to Cambodia twice. The first time I went both times with a health promotion challenge. So that was 2 weeks there, and then a week extension trip as well. And then the second time with another group, I just did the 2 weeks on the health promotion challenge. So
Like
yeah.
veteran of the programs. Well, you all are actually. You've all done 2 programs with us.
Yeah.
I think I met you, Lockie, on my first program in Cambodia.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah.
I've met Paley on my program in Cambodia too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'd love to just start with why you guys applied or decided that you wanted to be a leader on the program.
Well, the reason I did it, well, first of all, I went to Cambodia, obviously, and did that challenge, which was a million miles out of my comfort zone. But I absolutely loved it. And then I was asked if I wanted to be a leader. And my first response was, God, I could never do that. So I went, maybe I should do that. Because I just wanted to continue to step out of my comfort zone and challenge myself. And it was a fantastic decision.
Yeah, I love that. I always love hearing that response, because I think so many people think that they should go into the program with like having all of these skills and feeling really confident that they're going to be the best leader. But it's, as you know, it's really not about that. It's about like learning as you go. And like you said, taking that extra step to like put you outside of your comfort zone. And
I was definitely not in my comfort zone. I remember actually on the way to the airport for Thailand going, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And you did it. Once I got there.
Yeah. And Mel?
Yeah, well, I was in Cambodia at the same time as Kaylee, actually. We were on 2 different trips, but that was in 2017. So I just went over with another team then. And then pretty much ever since I got back, I was like, I really want to go again. I really want to go again. And there wasn't really anyone that I knew or any trips that like overly appealed to me. So I reached out to Molly at the time and I was like, hey, like, I think I want to go to Nepal and take my own group. And she was like, awesome. So that was it.
Yeah. And Lockie?
So the reason I first applied was when I was 15 or 16. I went to Thailand with another person and volunteered over there, and that was really challenging for me.
Yeah.
More so, there was a lot of challenges over there, but really challenging also, or more so when I came back to Australia. So to be able to be a part of that and help other people on that challenge was going to be big. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. I've had a similar experience with going away and loving it, but coming home and really struggling to kind of get back into normal life. So I think that's an experience that a lot of people have. And it's awesome that you were able to kind of support people through that. So secondly, what did you enjoy the most, whether that was something to do with being a leader or just on the program? It's up to you guys. Kaylee, if you want to kick us off again.
Well, as I said before, the Elephant Hill Tribe, the Elephant Nature Park was the single most beautiful place I've ever seen. It was just it's an indescribably beautiful place. There's hundreds of friendly dogs and cats, and then obviously the elephants. You would be sitting there at breakfast and some elephants would just be walking past, and it was just breathtaking. So that was definitely my highlight.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mel?
I think definitely the people, like both in my team and in Nepal. It's pretty, I would say, like a rare experience that you are with a group of people who are so different yet like have so many similar interests. So obviously everyone on your team, you know, might have different reasons for going or might have, you know, be from completely different like walks of life, but you're all kind of there for the one reason. So I think that, like you said earlier, the friendships that you make while you're there are pretty incredible, but also the Nepalese people and the Cambodian people are like people who work for Challenges Abroad, like over there, who are sort of our mentors while we're there, translators, everything like that are incredible. Yeah. And the schools we worked at, the teachers, the students are incredible. So I think, yeah, and as well as Kaylee, obviously, they're beautiful countries. Like Nepal, you can see the Himalayas everywhere you look. Like it's amazing. But yeah, definitely the people for me.
Yeah. Lockie?
it's really hard to pinpoint the thing that I most enjoyed.
Yeah. I think Mel covered about 4 things, so you're fine.
Yeah, I think I look, in retrospect, I really enjoyed the challenges of recruiting. I did not at the time. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But second time round, it was a lot better. I think everyone sort of said to me, how lucky are you? You get to go overseas with 25 girls. Nope. Not so cool. That was another massive challenge, but it was a good experience. It was good for my leadership and knowing myself better. But I think the friendships I built over there with my own team, I have a lot of contact with a lot of the people who I went with. The cultures over there, I absolutely love the Cambodian culture. It's a beautiful country. And the people in it. There's still a lot of people over there, locals that I talk to regularly. And made some amazing friends. Sarah, if you see this, I love you.
Sarah's great.
Yeah, I think she's a fan favourite.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll see it somewhere.
No, she's not. Don't tell her that.
She's got a big head.
Yeah. Then going on from that, maybe Lockie, you can start, because you were mentioning a little bit about recruitment. I'm not sure if that was one of your biggest challenges, but yeah, if you want to elaborate a little bit more on that and maybe how you overcame that as well.
Yeah, so it was initially a challenge for me to recruit. I didn't know where to start. I did have help from the team, but I think social networking was the biggest. Social media and getting out there at uni. I had support at uni from a couple of my lecturers, which really helped. So I ended up with quite big groups both times actually. But the biggest challenges were over there, because I had people who thought they were really well travelled, and they were in first world countries. So they were met with their own challenges. I had other people who had never travelled at all, or even left the state. So that was another major challenge. And then you've got all the different personalities, all different everything. So tying that all in together was a challenge at the start for the first week of the first trip.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the first trip, I'd learnt a lot, and I'd probably met my biggest challenges. So I thought, until the second trip. And then it all happened again. But yeah, that was probably my biggest challenges over there, and making sure when allocating groups over there, I had the right people like getting to know your group before you go.
Yeah.
So when you're putting people in groups, you can put maybe identify other leaders in there who you know will thrive, and put them with people who will struggle, and vice versa, and try and keep some big personalities apart.
Yeah, I think that's a tip. Yeah, that a lot of people find to be helpful. And then Mel, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with Lockie. There's nothing really probably more challenging than just the difference in personality. Like I think that like Lockie touched on, you know, some people have never been overseas, some people have. People get homesick, other people, maybe it's not what they thought, maybe it's better than they thought. You know, I think, it's definitely just working out what everybody needs, whether they need extra support or whether you just kind of need to let them like deal with it on their own, and like in a few days they'll be fine, they'll be over it. But yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
It's such a big learning experience, because not many people, you know, go through that, where they have 10 or 20 people that have come together from like all walks of life, and you're in this really intense experience. So I think there's definitely a lot of challenges.
Those, like Lockie said, are kind of over within the first week, once everyone's settled in and got you know, into a groove and understanding where everyone else stands, and it's usually pretty chill after the first few days.
And Kaylee, what about you?
Well, I went into my challenge expecting to have these clashes with big personalities, and I actually got really lucky, and I had a fantastic group of people, and I never had to use those skills. Like we ended up, because my group when I went over was quite small, we ended up partnering up with this group of people from Britain, and like they all just got on so beautifully. We were really lucky. But for me, my biggest challenge was actually a personal challenge of feeling really homesick and trying not to let that affect my leadership, because I've never been a big traveler, and as I said, this is so out of my comfort zone that I kept finding myself feeling really like wanting to go home, even though I was loving it. So I sort of had to fight that and make sure that everyone on my team was still feeling good and feeling happy. I got very lucky. They were all fantastic people.
Yeah, that's so great. I think it's either one or the other. Like there's no in the middle. It's either a different end of the extreme.
Yeah.
All right. And as we finish up, this is the last question. And yeah, it's about how the program has benefited you, whether that's in a small way or a big way, or you have a specific answer. Yeah, we'd love to hear about that as well. Lockie, do you want to kick us off?
Me? Yep, sure. How has it benefited me? So much. So at the start, I was going to say I couldn't speak. That's a lie. I can speak. But I could not public speak at all. Absolutely hated it. Anyone that knew me from my first challenge leader training, or I'm sure Molly will attest to it, that I was horrible. So that's, I've got a lot of confidence in that now. As far as leadership roles go, I've found myself in positions within the workplace or in new jobs now that I did not think I'd ever end up in, which I know it's directly related back to my experiences with Challenges Abroad. Mm-hmm. What else? They're the biggest ones. I know other times when I'm possibly, what's the right word for it? Engulfed in my own little world and think, oh, this is crap or this is hard. Mm-hmm. Then I unknowingly to them speak to my good friends that are overseas. Hey, how are you going? And they've got nothing at all compared to me. And I'm fantastic, Lockie. How are you? And I'm like, wake up, sunshine. So it's always good to have a good reality check.
Yeah,
I think as well, and I do that quite regularly now. So it's that's really good. But
yeah,
they were probably the three biggest ways that I've benefited from it.
Yeah, they're certainly really big. And Mel?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Lockie about sort of the perspective. I think it does maybe give you a little bit more of a positive outlook on life if you were sort of a person to feel a little like, you know, self-pity, I suppose. I think it does definitely give you perspective, and it also, I think, for a lot of people makes them feel good to know that they have had an impact or done something to help someone else. I think that is a big one for me. Like if I am feeling, you know, whatever, I'm like, well, you know, I have helped to sort of impact somebody else's life. I have sort of used my privilege for good, and obviously I'd love to do it again when I can afford to and when we're allowed to. But yeah, and also I think that the program, both the ones that I went on, sort of just fueled my love and desire for volunteering, for traveling, for challenges abroad, you know, all of the above. I think, yeah, definitely just overall a very like beneficial experience, I suppose.
Yeah. And Kaylee?
I think if I ran into myself before I went on my Cambodia challenge, I wouldn't recognize that person. I've completely changed since then. It's particularly the leadership programs have just brought me out of my shell and helped me become more confident. And I've definitely, all the same things about you see the world differently when you realize that there are these people that are so happy and cheerful when they have so much less than you have. And it definitely brings everything into perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I have a response from Julia as well that she emailed through to me, so I might read that out. She was saying that she found the program has benefited her immensely, similar to you guys. She said things like it was a really rewarding experience to reflect on, being able to learn about other cultures and interact with people of different cultures and language backgrounds. She also said she found it really beneficial to get that real life team management experience, and said a few months after she got back from her trip, she got a new job at a hospital, and swears she mentioned Challenges Abroad experience in every question during her interview.
Yes, I've had that experience too.
I agree with that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You sort
I
of
can
sort of
relate as well.
like, oh, this is awkward. I'm not bragging, am I? But it's just relevant to everything that they ask.
Yeah, it is. It's super relevant. Yeah, I
Also
think
with the
it's a
leadership
common response.
weekend, which obviously can't go ahead like right now, but I think that was like a really good experience for me, because it's really nice to meet like-minded people who are also sort of wanting to do the same things and leading their own team. So you can obviously all chat and get tips on how to, help your team, all of that sort of stuff. I've really liked, I still speak to like a lot of the people that I met at the weekends now, which I think is really cool, because you can always, if it's nice to see how they're all going. And yeah, I think that, so obviously that can't go ahead right now, but I'm sure there's still group chats and everything like that where we can all communicate.
Yeah, I think that's always a highlight for us as well. Like, it's always such a motivating weekend and kind of just like realigns what everyone's focusing on and helps you to kind of push forward if you've had, more of a challenging time as well. Amazing. Thank you so much to you guys for joining. I will be finishing up in about 5 minutes, but I'm just going to mention to anyone who might have any questions who's joined us, feel free to open up your chat box and I will answer those at the end, just about finished up. I did want to provide a bit of a COVID update, as we've mentioned a lot. Obviously, things have changed a lot. Travel certainly isn't an option for anyone right now, but we have kind of introduced a number of different policies to help people who might really want to book in a trip for the end of next year or even 2022, and to be able to feel confident and secure in that decision. So a few things that we've introduced are, firstly, no change of date fees and also a full program flexibility. So that means if you have registered for particular dates and aren't able to travel on those dates for whatever reason, you're able to postpone to later next year or 2022 free of charge. And similar with the program flexibility, if you had registered for a particular program in a certain country and then want to change to the same program in a different country or even a different program, we're fully flexible with that. So we can easily make any of those changes and really want to work with everyone who's interested in joining our programs as much as possible and being really flexible. And then second last, we have our flexible payment plans, which means once you secure your place on the program with your deposit, it's up to you how you would like to pay off the rest of the cost, whether that's in fortnightly, monthly, or even quarterly installments. It's up to you. And then lastly, of course, we have reviewed health and safety measures in all of the countries where we work and are really enhancing a number of the measures and practices in those countries. So that includes things like fewer people sharing rooms and bathrooms, more thorough and deeper cleaning of our accommodation, and also something that we've spoken a lot about is mandatory hand washing before meals, which of course was something that was always assumed pre-COVID, but is certainly something that will be strictly enforced when our programs resume again. And as I mentioned at the start, we have something new coming to our program offering. So these are virtual internships that we're going to be launching soon. So keep an eye out on our social media channels and our Facebook, on our website for those. And these have really been set up for people who really want to kind of engage in an opportunity like this now and don't want to wait until travel does kick off again. So keep an eye out for those ones. And as I mentioned at the start, these are all of the different ways you can get in touch with us if you want to know more about our programs or have a specific question. So you can book in a call to chat directly with us, whether that's helping you decide on what program would be best for you, or you just have a few questions. You can of course always send us an email at hello@challengesabroad.com.au, explore our website, kind of everything that's on offer, and we also have our social media channels, which can be a really great way to kind of get updates with things that are happening with our country teams. and also our YouTube channel where you can see videos from past participants in the countries where we work as well. So that is everything from me today. Again, huge thank you to you guys, Mel, Kaylee and Lockie, for joining me. It was really fantastic to hear from you and to hear all of your thoughts and experiences. So big thank you for that.
Thanks for having us.
No worries.
Thanks, guys. Alrighty, that is the end of the session. So I hope everyone has a great evening and night. Thank you.